Hey guys, for today I'll be doing two videos. One is an overview of the mega caps, well, except Netflix, and I'll add some instead of Netflix. And before we get to the individual names, I want to look at queues a bit. And I've started by drawing out the support zones or the levels. So first we have this one here, which was the low, and we can see it's been tested in 2020 as well. This is kind of the midpoint, and this is the top area. The way you want to draw this is to intersect as many candles as possible in the extreme area. So for example, here it's an overshoot, then another overshoot, and so on. And at this area, kind of the same idea. This is an overshoot. This is an overshoot. We have contact here. We have contact here. We have contact here and overshoot. We have it as resistance here, and so on and so on and so on. But this is kind of the level where we have the most contact points for the line, and this is likely the 50% point. I'll take out the channel just briefly, and again at the top, it's not perfect, but what another thing I look at is for it to be a double up of the lower channel. So if we go here, it actually should be a bit higher, but this is not an issue at the moment because this area is very fragmented from a support resistance standpoint. Because if we want to add more, we add more. This is a top here, this is a top, a back test here, this whole area here. So it actually could be up to this for an overshoot. But I think this is the top of the zone, and it can overshoot as high as this level. I'll put it as well. But more or less we're in close to an extreme position. We could potentially go even higher. And today the thing I'll be doing differently is we look at deltas quite a lot. And we start with OI. This is Q's OI based on Friday's expiration. We also look at the volume, and this is volume in OI. And we can see there was a lot of volume for May and a lot of volume for December. But delta wise, it's pretty even. Like it's more extreme on the OI side, but the delta, the volume represented, is more skewed to bullish. The one thing to note here is that we had this spike here, and let's see where it was. So it was for 280p for December, quite a bit of volume. This could have been a hedge, so don't know for sure what it was. But let's go back to delta profile. And what does the profile look like? It looks pretty extreme uh, on the bullish side, because the biggest level we have in the market is 300. We are at 316. We don't have any, almost no, we have very little puts for the next major expiration, which is May, here in TL. And the highest we can go is 320. The way you should be looking at delta is put delta and call delta are your left and right legs, and you need both your legs to be sprinting, to run at your fastest speed. You need both legs. Once you get to a positioning where you run out of puts or you run out of calls, your speed cannot be the top speed, and it becomes harder and harder to advance. At first you're running with a limp, and then you're running on one leg. You can't actually move forward anymore. And just as an example, what was the low here? 260. This is not the exact positioning that happened when we are near the lows, but it's representative. And when did we run out of calls? At around 265. Let's say we had more at the time, but it probably was between 270 and 260. So this is the same kind of principle. When we run out of call or put OI, the move up has to stop. And we are the line at that level. It was to 320, and the top of this move up was exactly 320 as well. Now, when if we get the pullback as expected, as I explained in yesterday's video, the target is going to be 300. Why? Because it's the biggest level in the market OI wise, and it's going to reject a move through it. It can allow a move through it, but to actually gain momentum and go lower, it has to go below 290, and it's unlikely that it will do that. So this 293 level, which was the approximate midpoint of this range, is our target. So for Qs, what I expect next week, if we have good earnings, is maybe it pulls back a bit, then it goes back up due to good earnings. It does a breakout here, and it can stop at any point in this range. I don't expect it to go I would expect it to be lower rather than higher. So 230 is very, very extreme. Like 230 is here. It's incredibly unlikely that it goes this high. So I think 320, 325 is the max we can see. And then it will just go down because it has to go down to catch its breath. Target 290, no, sorry. Target is an overshoot of 300, so 300 is here, and it's also part of the smaller range here, so 300. We had this small consolidation here. We moved in it as well. So this area is the target for next week. With this being said, let's move on to individual names, and we're going to start with Apple. Apple looks like this right now. I drew a bunch of lines as well. This is the channel that I've been tracking for quite a while, and you can see that we broke out above it a bit. We kind of did that in the past as well, so it's not really that important. And let's hide it for now. Oh, didn't want me to hide that. So let's hide the channel. And then we look at the horizontal level. So first, the bottom was this area here. And then we have this range until 145-ish. And then from that point upwards to where we are now. And this is, this one, previous top. It was support here when we moved up. It became resistance. We moved up, turned it into support, went for the move up. Then we went through it and stopped at 144, went back up. We've been moving in this. Let's make this one a bit thicker. So this was the range where we moved the most in the last couple of months. And just recently we went above it, and now we're hitting the cap of it. The cap of it is the lows here, and the potential for a bit of overshoot into the supply zone here. So this is kind of the top that we can see, and it's 171-ish. Now let's look at delta and see if we can confirm that. And lo and behold, we can. So let's look here. So in blue is next week, and in green is May. And you can see that for next week, we have the potential to go higher, as high as 175. We don't have any puts here, and that kind of makes it more difficult. But these are the biggest call levels, and even though it's running on one leg, it's a very strong leg. And it's possible that we will see this. I don't think we will hit 175, but it has the potential to hit 171 here and actually go in this range. So again, when does Apple have earnings on Thursday? This move goes higher, potentially on the bullish case, and then it goes down. And the target for going down is 150, 155. So it can be an overshoot here and then it goes back up, or it can continue down, goes to 150, which is a psychological level, and looking at the delta, this is the biggest level in the market when you combine both puts and calls, and again it will become resistance. So the target uh, for a move down is this area here. So 150, 145, depending on how bullish bearish it is, it it will uh, it will go higher or lower. Okay, so Let's continue. Then we have that Microsoft. So let's look at Microsoft. Microsoft is also pretty extreme at the top of the range. This is potentially what the maximum we can see, which is 305, 3010, 310, let's say. But right now we are at the top of this range, like the August top. We are retesting it. We are consolidating in this narrow range, and from here it can also go both ways. So it depends on earnings, like I said. If we pull back, I would expect to go as low as 245. We'll look at delta in a second, but first support here. Maybe it turns us into support. This is the more likely one, I believe. So let's look at profiles. Not a lot of room to go up as well. It's similar to Apple in that even though it's running on one leg, this leg is the biggest level for calls, so potentially it can still do it. So what's Microsoft 285? 300 based on it's the potential top based on the delta profile, the maximum we can get to. It's unlikely because it's running on one leg, but it's doable. And then when we go back, what this seems like the level to see. So 270 from my point of view. It's kind of a machine gun pivot here. Like they're all about the same size, so it could potentially go lower, go through each one of them and grab momentum. I think that the lowest possible is 250. But that's also seems kind of extreme. What's 250? No, this was actually my target. So 250. Yeah, I'm thinking about it because the thing that is interesting here is that they're all equal, and equal levels provide a good opportunity to just be like a staircase, and it can go through them relatively quickly. And here it becomes skewed only toward puts, so it can go up as low as here, and then it runs out of fuel pretty quickly, and it will go back up. So TAY is 263-ish, so 265 to 260, let's call it as a range. And then if that doesn't hold, we go to 250 to 45. And bullish case is 300. And of course, 300 can also be an overshoot to 305. Who do we have next? Meta. Okay, levels for Meta. Sorry. So we are at this top area here. It was a top in 08, in not 08, sorry, in 2018. It was a top in 2020, the top before the COVID crash actually, and now we're testing it again. This will be very difficult to break through, and I would bet we get a pullback rather than a move down, rather than a continuation move up. Let's look at delta profile a bit. So we are at 212. So around here. And what's this green thing? It's May. So you have a bunch of puts on 215 for May, and then a bunch of bullish call OI for next week. So people are quite for Wednesday. I didn't expect to see this one here. There's a lot of call volume for next week. Not call volume, sorry, it's call OI, and it has some delta, not a lot, but some. There's a lot of people who are bullish for next week. Let's look at volume as well. Volume also quite bullish. 5-ish. So someone was very bullish on 250 for next week. So the market kind of thinks Meta will beat earnings and do the run to 250 to fill the gap. And Meta actually has a delta profile that would allow that. This big level in 215, which puts for May, should allow it to do that. And it has a nice ramp going up to 250. So the potential for Meta in case it beats earnings is actually 250 on this on the beginning of the gap fill, but it's unlikely that it will go beyond it. So the bullish scenario for Meta is going to 50 ish, of course, and then it will pull back and potentially turn this to 18 level into support. And the bearish scenario is 180. So here we have intermediate support and then 180. Let's look at here. What's the biggest level here? It's 180. So yeah, this seems reasonable. So if we go up, it will go up here, and if we go down, it will go down to here. Meta has a really, really bullish OI profile. This is uh, January 2024. Very confident people bet on 420 Meta, 700 Meta, 300 Meta. What's this? This is 2025, 320C. Okay, so Meta, bullish scenario of 250, bearish scenario 180. Amazon. Let's go NVDA because I have it open already. So NVIDIA, let's look at our profile. We are at 271, the top was 280, and this is the level when we run out of calls. There's a bit of call OI for next week, but nothing major, and 300 is the maximum possible for next week. It's not feasible to go higher than this, and even this is an extreme. Like I don't think we go above 280. And there's a lot of put OI for next week as well. Like it's a nice ramp for a drop. 200, that's so far away. So first support I would say is 250 with potential for a bit of an overshoot, but this it seems doable, like that 200 thing. So have this channel going on here. So I don't really see a bullish case for Nvidia. It's way too overextended. So maximum, let's say it goes to here and then it goes down. And we have a first support at 240. Let's look. It's 250. But given the evenness of this profile here, I would say it will definitely be an overshoot. So first area is 250 to 40. And if that becomes resistance, we continue down to 200, which would be this area here. So between these lows here and the highs here. Which will also be the channel bottom. NVIDIA is a very interesting case right now because it deviated from the semis. So this is, let me pin it to, so this is NVIDIA versus SMH. And you can see that it follows it pretty well. Not identical, but it's pretty there. And you see here with SMH, deviated, NVIDIA eventually caught up to it. And what we're seeing now is NVIDIA is going up while SMH is going down. This kind of divergence doesn't really uh, play out well for the individual name that deviates. And at the same time, all the other semis actually corrected in sync with SMH. Actually, SMH is in sync with them. I'll talk about it more when we on the other video when I talk about the other semis. This is similar to oil stocks and oil. Okay, so recap: Nvidia bullish case like 290. I don't think we see 300. It doesn't have uh, any put OI here, and this will need super bullish earnings across the board from all the tech names, from AMD, stuff like that, for it to go to 300. So why I don't think it goes above 280, maybe 285, something like that. But if all the planets align and everything is super bullish, it can get to 300. Other than that, a correction to 250, and if that doesn't hold, to 200, the 200 area. Okay, what else do we have? So we have Google, we have Amazon, we have Tesla, and some. Okay, so let's look at Google. So Google, this was the bottom, high here, low here. Then this is kind of the midpoint, which was this low here. It was a support here, it was a resistance here, then we broke out. And the lows, the highs from here and the lows from here are the next level, which we are now fighting against. And this is the overshoot range over here. So it looks very, very similar to what happened last time, in that it will not go above. Let's look at the delta profile. Google has a surprisingly small open interest and volume. So for next week we have 105. What's now 105? Exactly 105. We have 105 and potentially 110. Beyond this, we don't have any puts to actually feed the move up and continue going higher. I would say this was the top this week. So it was 108. Yeah, that's kind of what I would expect. So the best case scenario is a retest of that 108, 110 area, and then it goes down. And where does it go? 90-ish, but that seems kind of extreme as well. I would guess it retests the mid area again. So bullish case, retest of here, then it goes down, and we retest the mid area and back up. Someone went to a lot of 225 calls for January 2024. Look at volume. Ooh, volume is super bullish for next week. So 105 is at the money call, so whatever is good. But there was a lot of volume for 110. People are really bullish on, or the options volume uh, was really bullish for next week. Look at this. I like this post as a bullish and bearish scenario, but more like as a bearish. This has the potential for a very nice rug pull if people are bullish and this doesn't materialize in earnings. Okay, what do we have next? Amazon. So Amazon has been consolidating this range here. The lows here, the highs in here, and it looks like last week it broke out. And then if it broke out, the next major level is this. This is an intermediate level that can still be in the overshoot range. Let's look at delta a bit. So we are at 106.96, so around here. No short-term puts, but there are longer-term puts here to fit the move up. Let's say the extreme for Amazon would be like 125-ish. What's 125-ish? It's this. So this is potentially as high as it can go, but I don't think it can do it now. What's green? Green is May. So no puts beyond this point. And it has a good setup for calls, but not super incredible. It can still go up. I think it can go as high as 112, 113. Again, depends on earnings. So I would say we see this, maybe a bit of an overshoot to 115 and then down. That's the bullish case for earnings. And the bearish case is not that bearish. 95, 90, I think is the lowest it can go. So we are here. Yeah, not a lot of OI for it to go below 95 a lot. So I think 90 is the minimum we can see, which would be around this lows here. But Amazon looks like to be the most balanced between the mega caps. It actually has some room to go up. It's not capped immediately. Okay, Tesla. So for Tesla, bottom range, this was an overshoot. I can actually draw this one as well to in the bottom. And it's been going up. We hit the low area here, got rejected. We tried to go above it again, got rejected and made the lower high. And now it's getting kind of broken down because of earnings. For Tesla earnings, I think the biggest issue was margins going down, and we may not be seeing a recession anytime soon, but we are seeing margins come down, and that's what will bring mega cap techs down, not anything else. Tesla is more interesting because it's already dropped. Let's look at Delta. So we are at 165. That's around here. So upside is 200 for sure. It doesn't have earnings, so it will do stuff by itself. So first one is fill this gap here. It goes up, turns this into a support, and goes to here. 200. That's the upside target. If it continues down, doesn't look like it has a lot of room to continue. So we are at 165-ish. This 150 area seems to be the target. Running out of calls below it. So I would say it's this gap fill. It can overshoot. I like to see gap fills. So if you want to buy Tesla for long, you can go at 145, 150 with a target of 200. This is also this. This would be a broadening formation, broadening megaphone, something like this. From here, this actually. So quite the nice megaphone for Tesla here, which is a bullish pattern in this case. Not in this case, in general, this pattern, this descending megaphone pattern is a bullish pattern. So buy at the lows, and it has the potential to break out higher later. But I like Tesla quite a lot if we get to 150. Okay, and finally XOM. Actually, I forgot to check the volume for Tesla. Quite the bullish call delta volume for next week, and very bearish for January 2024. What did people buy for January 2024? Deep in the money puts 450p, 416p, 366p. I don't think this is bullish position. Who the hell sells deep in the money puts? And for next week, so we have some puts at 160. It's generally bullish, but yeah, we don't know. It will depend on earnings of the other mega caps. Okay, and now to XOM, because I wanted to talk about this one as well, due to multiple reasons. So first of all, it hasn't corrected. CL. There's still this. What did I add here? Right? No, this isn't right. I think this is right. Okay, so market uh, Exxon correlated with oil prices. It goes on for a while, and now it's completely disconnected from oil prices. The gap is huge. Not only that, but when we compare it with Oxy, uh, CVX, don't know what other mine I have in a blank here. Let's say Fang and so on. So let's put this on their own scales. Make Oxy some align as well. So in general, they are correlated, but this had a pullback in sync with oil prices. Some didn't. And what I'm assuming is just the pre-earnings the pre-earnings hopes, but this cannot stand. And it's quite divergent on the weekly. Like we're following this trend line almost exactly, and we're getting a top. The delta doesn't look good either. So this is where we are for next week, and we have a lot of bullish delta up to up to 120. But this is where the party stops, and I think we get a big pullback as low as 100, maybe even lower. I think 100 is gonna be the level we retest. So basically this here again. And I didn't draw the levels for this one similar to the other ones, but we can do it now. And sorry, not this one, this one. So first one is this. Then we have this. And at the top, I actually don't like that one. It's below, not above. It's consolidating above. See how accurate it is on the midpoint. Pretty accurate, but I still like it where it is. And 120 would be here. So let's actually put it at the top we had in February, 1963. I think that's the cap. With oil going down, with the other names in sync, I think we have a very similar setup to for earnings uh, seldom used event. So we might get a push up on earnings because there's no way they don't have good earnings, but it will be a sudden news event where people take profit because of the spike in price. And there is no uh, setup where it's bullish. And we can see that the uh, we have quite a bit of an expiration for 5/5, so first week of May, and that should be the turning point where it starts to go down. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting. Uh, this trend line can become a support in the future as well. So maybe it doesn't see 100, it sees just this level here, and then goes back up. But this is not a bullish setup for oil. I think we get a big breakdown relatively soon in the future. Like by end of summer, I think oil has a huge breakdown, and oil names as well. This is kind of the bullish case, but I don't see them going higher. And the bullish case for next week is something like this, and it will go down again, and then just the same thing until an eventual huge breakdown later in the year. Okay, so that's it. I hope this explains a bit more about how to use delta, the OI profile and delta to figure out like some support and resistance levels. And I'll make the request video now. See you guys later. Bye bye.